Assalamualaikum dear students. Here is a good news for you people. Today I'm gonna start group 3 2. As you know that in this semester I'll be teaching group 3 2 and real analysis 2, and still we have online classes. That's why I'll try to complete these two courses uh, on my YouTube channel. So let's start group 3 2. So first at all, we are studying a few previous definition. One of that was conjugacy relation. So conjugacy relation in a group G. You know, we know the idea of conjugate elements in a group. So let's define again. Let's revise again. Let G be a group for any A belong to G. You know, A is any element of G. Corresponding to any element of G, you can find its conjugate element, right? The element G, A, G inverse. How can you find this element? You take an element G from the same group and you multiply like this, G, A, G inverse. So you can say that this is some B, some element B. You can say that B is equal to G A G inverse, of course where G belong to G. Look at this. So it is obvious that A is an element of for any A belong to G. Of course A is an element of G and G is an element of G, so G inverse is an element of G. So by Clojure law, this is also an element of G. Of course B is an element of G. So from the elements of G, of course few elements are in fact conjugate to A. If B can be expressed G A G inverse, it means that whenever you want to find a conjugate element to A by an element G, you just find this element. Okay. So what is the definition? For any A belong to G, the element G A G inverse. Remember, this is also an element of G. For some G belong to G is called the conjugate or transform of A by G. This is called the conjugate element of A or transform of A by G. Okay. So this means that two elements A and B, thus two elements A and B are said to be conjugate if and only if there exists an element G belong to G such that B is equal to G A G inverse. Okay, because you know that you can multiply by G inverse here and then you can multiply by G on the right side. So a similar relation from A to B you can calculate. That's why. So what is the definition of a conjugate element? Whenever you want to find a conjugate element of an element A, you find another element G belong to G and find an element like this G A G inverse. So this G A G inverse is called conjugate to A, conjugate to this central element A. So whenever you want to find a conjugate element of an element A by an element G, so you find this G A G inverse. Okay. So my first remark is, can you find this? This is so easy. We can find this. Okay, take an example of a group S3. You know S3 is A, B such that A cube is equal to B square is equal to AB square is equal to E. And if you expand this, S3 can be written as this. Like I have told you, first write E, then A cube. So write an element A cube starting from A, then A square, and then of course A cube is equal to E. So you have A square. Of course A cube is equal to E. You will not write A cube because we already have written E. And then write the second generator. This is B square. Of course we can write simply B. And then start from here. EB, this is B. Then AB, it's AB. Of course then A square B. Of course A square B. Okay. So these are the 6 elements: E, A square, B, AB, A square B. We have discussed in detail in group 3.1 that how you form these groups like S3, D4 and other families. We have discussed in detail. Okay, so you take any element A, or you take any element B. So can you find an element conjugate to this B? So you just write, take any GB G inverse. We need to calculate this GB G inverse. So for GB G inverse, if I select AB, if I select as AB as G, so this is equal to, take G is equal to AB, then of course GB G inverse is in fact AB, and what is B? This is B and AB inverse. Of course, you know the order of AB is 2. What is the order structure? This order of A is 1, order of A is 3, order of A square is 3. Of course, order of B is 2, order of AB is 2, order of A square B is 2. You know the order structure of this group. Okay, so I have told you that whenever you write a group, first of all find its order structure. Okay, so this is the order structure, and since AB is of order 2, and you know that if X is an element of order 2, then of course X is equal to X inverse, right? So AB inverse is equal to AB. So this is equal to AB, B, AB. And these two can be combined, B square, and you know this is B square is equal to B square is equal to E. So this is equal to A into AB. This is equal to A square B. So if you find conjugate element B with AB, so this is equal to A square B. This means that what is this? AB B AB inverse is equal to A square B. So A square B is conjugate to B, right? I tried to find a conjugate element to B with respect to AB, So with this AB, I have calculated that A square B is conjugate to B. It's so simple. Similarly, we can find all elements which are conjugate to B, and then after we will put all these elements in a class, and this would be termed as conjugacy class of B. Okay, so let's start. My first remark is, we have remark. What is this? Number one, any two conjugate elements have same order, right? Conjugate elements have same order. Okay. Suppose A is an element, any element of order 5, and B is conjugate to A. Suppose order of A is equal to 5, that is A5 is equal to E, with 5 is the least positive integer. This means that you cannot find E before this power 5. Okay. This means that, of course, you know, this means that A square, A cube, A4 and E, these are the distinct elements. Whenever I'm saying that order of A5 is E, order of A is 5, this means that A5, A power 5 is equal to E. This always means that these elements A square, A cube, A4 and E, these are the distinct elements, different elements. Okay. So suppose A is an element of order 5, and suppose B is conjugate to A. So let B is equal to G, A, G inverse, where of course G belongs to G. We have no need to find the order of G. From here we can calculate the order of B. Of course, you start taking powers of B, and the least positive integer where B will give E would be the order of B. So let's start working. First we will take B square, and of course this is equal to G inverse square. This must be equal to G inverse, and this is G inverse. If you combine these two, G inverse G is the identity. So A and A, this is A square, so this will be equal to G A square G inverse. Now take B cube. B cube is in fact G inverse cube. This is equal to G inverse into G inverse square, and we have calculated square. This is equal to G square G inverse. So we are getting G inverse into G square G inverse. Again, you can combine G inverse G. This is the identity element E. So we are getting G cube G inverse. Of course, if you do the same, continue in this fraction, we will get similarly. You can find that B4 is in fact GA4 G inverse, and B5 must be equal to GA5 G inverse, and you know that A5 is equal to E because order of A is 5. So this is equal to G inverse. This is identity, and B5. Sorry, this is B5. And since 5 is the first integer for which B power 5 is equal to E, this means that the order of B is 5. Hence, order of B is equal to 5. So, what we have learnt, that if A and B are two conjugate elements, then of course they have same order. They have same order. In general, you can say that in general, if order of A is equal to M and B is equal to G inverse, where of course G belongs to G, then order of B is also M. So this means that, or you can say that, order of B is equal to order of A, provided B is equal to G inverse. If B is equal to G inverse for some G belong to G, then order of B and order of A both are equal. It means that all elements which are conjugate to a given element A must have same order, and they can be written in a different class, right? And this would be termed as conjugacy class of that particular element. Okay, so let's have another remark. This was the first remark, and the second remark is second remark, you know that this is the commutator. This is the commutator. You know that commutator is A, B, A inverse, B inverse. This is just for information. Maybe we will use in our some results. So what is this? First at all, what is this? G inverse. This is conjugate to A by G. What we are saying, this element is also an element of G, of course, and this element is in fact the conjugate of A by G. Conjugate to A is conjugate to A by G, of course. G inverse is a conjugate element, conjugate of A by G. Similarly, this element is conjugate of B by A. Okay, if you take a conjugate element of B by A and then multiply by its inverse, means conjugate to B by A into B inverse, Look at this. So what is this? This is conjugate to B by A into B inverse, right? For example, if I write this element conjugate of B to A like this, AG, if I write AG, if I symbolize this particular element, I'm not saying this is the symbol. Suppose if I symbolize this element by AG, okay, so this can be written as B A into B inverse. Look at this. B A into B inverse. But this is not power, this is the symbol. Conjugate of B by A into B inverse. This is in fact the commutator. Okay, this is the another definition of commutator. You know very well that commutator of A and B is denoted by this AB, and we write A, B, A inverse, B inverse, and this commutator can be written further as conjugate to B by A into B inverse. So this is equal to BA is the label for conjugate of B by A, and you multiply with by B inverse, you will get this this element commutator of A and B. Okay. So next is we define a relation. Okay. Why not you define this relation BA. So this means that with the help of with the help of A and G, I am going to define G A G inverse. This is equal to A G, like this. So this is a relation, okay, and this is called the conjugacy relation, right? So what do you mean by conjugacy relation? Conjugacy relation. So this conjugacy relation, this relation, and conjugacy relation, this is a conjugacy relation is an equivalence relation. Is an conjugacy relation is an equivalence relation. What do you mean by equivalence relation? If you recall the definition of equivalence relation, we have the three properties. Equivalence relation means one is which is reflexive, and second is it is symmetric, and third is transitive. Okay, if any relation has these three properties, one is reflexive, second is symmetric, and third is transitive, then that relation is called equivalence relation. So we claim that here the conjugacy relation between the elements of a group G is also an equivalence relation. Okay? So when you say that reflexive, what is reflexive? Reflexive means if any relation I R contain the identity relation. If any relation R contain the identity relation, you know what do you mean by identity relation? Say if you have set x is equal to 1, 2, 3, then of course identity relation is 1, 1, 2, 2, and 3, 3. This is a relation, this is an identity relation on X. If X is containing these three elements, 1, 2, 3, then identity relation, I mean set of all those elements which are related to itself. 1, 1, 1 is related to 1, 2 is related to 2, 3 is related to 3. This is the identity relation. Okay, so reflexivity also says that if you have this 3, 2, 3, if you have 2, 3, instead of 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, and 2, 3, then still it is reflexive. Because we are saying that if identity is a subset of any relation, you have any relation, yes, and this is not, say, I, now this is some relation R, and this relation R on this set, of course, is containing the identity relation. That's why this relation R is called reflexive relation. So simply we can write this. This means that R is reflexive. R is reflexive if A related to A under R. If A is related to A, for all A belong to X. That's why. If every element is related to itself, with respect to relation, then of course we will say that this relation is reflexive. Okay, so simply we write reflexive if A related to A. Of course, if there is a relation between all elements to itself, then that relation is called reflexive. For all A belong to G, of course A belong to G. For every A belong to G. And then symmetric. Symmetry means if A related to B, then of course B related to A. For all A, B belong to G. Means that if B is conjugate to A, in our language, conjugate relation, I am saying that A is conjugate to itself always. Every element of G is conjugate to itself always. This is called the reflexivity. This means that every element is, of course, we can choose the identity element. E, A, E inverse. Of course, this is A, but by definition, A is conjugate to A. So, this can be written for all elements of that group G. That's why this relation is trivial. And the secondly, if A is related to B, then B is related to A for all A, B belong to. This means that in our language, if B is conjugate to A, then of course A should be conjugate to B. Okay? If corresponding to every, whenever B is conjugate to A, then A must be conjugate to B. So, and conversely, then we say that relation is reflexive. And thirdly, symmetric. And thirdly is transitive. So, if A related to B and B related to C, then A related to C. This means that if B is conjugate to A and C is conjugate to B, then of course C is conjugate to A. Okay, if A is related to B and B is related to C, then A is related to C. This is called the transitivity. Now we will prove this, that the relation between the relation of conjugacy between the elements of a group is an equivalence relation. So to prove equivalence relation, you must have to show these three properties. That this relation, I mean relation between conjugacy relation between the elements is reflexive, and this relation is symmetric, and also this relation is transitive. Okay, so let's prove this. So number one relation is reflexive. Since E inverse is equal to A for all A belong to G. You take any group G and this would automatically be satisfied corresponding to every element A of G. So E inverse is equal to A. That's why A is conjugate to A. This means that A is conjugate to A. Right? A is related to. Secondly, symmetric. So let A is related to B. You are supposing that B is conjugate to A. Whenever you are saying that A is related to B, because here the relation R is in fact the conjugation relation. Okay, so that's why we can say that B is conjugate to A. That is, B is equal to G inverse, where G belongs to G. Now, if I can show that A can also be written as some G inverse, Of course, G is arbitrary, so instead of G, you are using some G star or G dash or G1, then of course relation would be satisfied, and we can say that it is symmetric. Okay, so but then this imply you can multiply by G inverse B G would be equal to A, or you can write G inverse B G inverse is equal to A. So why not you write G inverse some G dash? Okay, so this further can be written as so take G dash G inverse is equal to G dash, say, or you say G star. Of course, G star belong to capital G, because G is the element of capital G, and capital G is a group, so its inverse is also an element G. There is no ambiguity. That's why this so 1. Then by 1 we have G star B G star. So like this, so we can write inverse is equal to A. So this imply, this is that B is related to it. Okay, whenever I write A is related to B, I like to write B is equal to GA G inverse. So here, or you can say that A is equal to G star B G star inverse. So this implies, of course, G star belong to capital G. So this implies B is related to A. So if A is related to B, then B is related to A, then we say that relation is symmetric. And third one is transitive. Let A related to B and B related to C. Of course, you will find some G1 and G2 to settle down the definition for these two symbols. Okay, then there exist, then there exists G1 and G2 belong to G, such that B is equal to G1 A G1 inverse, and say this is 1, and C is equal to G2 B G2 inverse, say number 2. Okay, how can you write this? Apply definition here. B is equal to some G1 A G1 inverse. Of course, we are writing on the right side here, on the left side, from here, B is equal to G1 A G1 inverse, and from here I will write C is equal to, with this B, C is equal to G2 B G2 inverse. Now you can put 1 into this value of B can be substituted here in 2. So what is happening here? You see, putting 1 and 2, we get C must be equal to G2 G1 A G1 inverse G2 inverse. This, so we have substituted this value of 1 in 2. Instead of this B, we are writing this. Okay, we are doing nothing. Now try to simplify. to put in that form because we want to show that A is related to C. Okay. So from here you see this is G2, G1A, G1 inverse, G2 inverse. These two can be combined. Look at here. Look at here. These two can be combined. You know that G2, G1 inverse can be written as G1 inverse, G2 inverse. So you see here G1 inverse, G2 inverse. So this can be written as G2, G1A, G2, G1 whole inverse. And why not you suppose this G2, G1 as some G star. So this is equal to in fact G star A, G star inverse, where G star is equal to G2, G1 of course belong to G. Since G1 and G2 both are the elements of G, that's why G2, G1 is also an element of capital G. So C is equal to G star A, G star inverse. What does it mean? This means that this implies A is related to C. You know, when A is related to B and B is related to C, then of course A is related to C. You have proved this. This means that the relation is transitive. Since all the three conditions, namely reflexivity, symmetry and transitivity, so far been proved. So that's why this relation is equivalence relation. So is there any benefit of this equivalence relation? Yes, any equivalence relation can always define a partition of that set. You know, if you define congruence relation on set of integers, you can always define a partition of set of integers. Suppose you need to know 100 classes of set of integers. I want to find 100 classes of set of integers. All should be infinite classes and there should not be any point common to all these classes. I mean, these 100 classes are in fact defining a partition of set of integers. So what I have to do, I'll define an equivalence relation on that set. You know that congruence relation is also an equivalence relation. In elementary number theory, you must have learned the idea of congruence relations. This is also an equivalence relation. So I'll try to define a congruence relation modulo 100 on set of integers. You will find 100 remainders, namely 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 99. And you know every remainder is in fact is containing a class. When I'm saying 0, this means that set of all those integers which are leaving remainder 0 when divided by 100. When I'm saying that 7 is a class, I mean set of all those integers which are leaving remainder as 7 when divided by 100. So in this way you will get 100 classes, and these are the congruent classes. We call these classes as the congruent classes. If you suppose you fix this for n is equal to 4, okay, you want to find 4 classes of such integers. You take modulo as 4, and of course if modulo is 4, if you divide any integer by 4, you will get 4 possible remainders, namely 0, 1, 2, 3. So set of all those integers which are leaving 0 divided when you are dividing by 4 is of course is a different class, and set of all those integers which are leaving remainder as 1 including 1 is a different class. This class can be assigned by 1. You are labeling with 1, and similarly 2 by 3, 2 and 3. So these are the 4 classes. 4 classes of integers. The class 3 means set of all those integers which are leaving remainder 3 when divided by 4. So that's why these 4 classes have different numbers, no common to each other, and their union is the entire set of integers. Of course, these 4 classes are in fact partitioning the set of integers. Similarly, whenever you define a relation on any set which is an equivalence relation, then that relation must define a partition of that set. So here in our concept, we have proved that this conjugate relation is an equivalence relation. That's why is an equivalence relation on any group G. So that's why this relation will define a partition of that group G. And these classes, suppose if you define this relation as 3 and you are getting 3 classes, then these 3 classes must define a partition of S3. This means that not all the conjugacy classes as subgroups. Means when identity is in one class, then of course this can never be in any other class, because these classes are in fact defining the partition of S3. That's why a conjugacy class is not necessarily a subgroup, okay? Because identity is not in any other. So except the identity, they all are not subgroups. None of the conjugacy class is a subgroup. So because not a normal subgroup, and so on and so forth. Okay, so now try to find the conjugacy classes of S3. So can we find the conjugacy classes of S3? What is S3? You know S3 is equal to AB sided A cube B square, AB square is equal to E, or you know this is equal to E A square B AB A square B, of course. Then CA. So here notation, I am using the notation. This is CA or simply A. This is, I am using this notation CA. CA stands for set of all conjugate elements which are conjugate to A. Set of all conjugate elements of A, conjugate to A. Set of all those elements of G which are conjugate to A. And this is called conjugacy class of A. Sometimes we'll like to use this symbol. So, you know, if I find CE, so we define here CA is equal to B sided, B is equal to GA, G inverse, of course G belongs to G. Look at here. So CA, those B which are conjugate to A. This set of all those elements of G, of course B is an element of G, I already have told you that. Since A is an element of G and G is an element of G, so this particular element is also an element of G, that's why B is an element of G. So CA, set of those elements of G which are satisfying this equation. So B is equal to GA. So what you have to do, you just vary G. Try to vary G. Take G, then A square, B, AB, A square B. You move all the elements to get this conjugacy class. Okay, see, this means that what is E? So those B such that B is equal to G E G inverse, where G belongs to G. And what is this? G E G inverse, because we want to find the conjugacy class of this element E, and you know that E is the identity element, that's why this commute with all other elements. So this is G inverse, so this is equal to B, and B is equal to G inverse, this is E. So what is this? This is equal to E. Okay. So B, the conjugacy class of identity element is containing just one element, which is the identity element itself. There is no other element in this by general definition. Okay. Now, can you find the other classes as well? So one class is identity. This is identity. Okay. So the next we find the class CA. CA, those element of those B which are B is equal to G A G inverse, where G belong to G. Right? So we will move G throughout the group and we'll find that what are the elements which are lying in this class. So you just move G. Remember, S3 is E A square B A B and A square B. Okay. Now I am going to vary G, right, from starting from E, then A square, then B, then AB, then A square B. You just vary G and find the elements, which are the possible elements. So just vary G. So G, if G is equal to E, so this is equal to, in fact, E inverse. Then take A. These are the G elements. These are the G belong to D. You just vary all G elements. Then A. Here, this is A inverse. Then A square, A square, A square inverse. Then you just vary B here. This is B inverse. Then AB right here instead of G. So AB inverse. Then write A square B instead of G. You write A square B. This is A square B A square B inverse. Okay. Now you simplify. What is this? This is A. What is this? This is A. What is this? A square and A square and A. This is A cube, and A cube is the identity. And you know that A square inverse. This is of course A square inverse is A. You know A cube is equal to E. This means that A square is equal to E. This means that A square is equal to A inverse. So what is this? Is E, and A square inverse is A. This is again A. The BAB inverse. You know B inverse. What is B inverse? Okay. What is B inverse? B square is equal to E. So B is equal to E. This implies B is equal to B inverse. Okay. So this is B inverse is B. This is BAB. Right. This is BAB. And what is BAB? What is BAB? You can solve this so easy. You know, BAB, and this is BA is, you know, this is A square B. BA is BA. If you take BA square, this is BA. This is B. You know, BAB. BA square is BA is BABA. This is BAB. Why are we writing this? We should not write this. We have AB square. The S3 is, remember, S3 is AB A cube B square. AB square is equal to E. So if AB square is equal to E, this means that AB is equal to AB inverse. This is equal to B inverse, A inverse. You know, B inverse is equal to B and A inverse is equal to A square. So AB is equal to B A square. Right? Similarly, I have another calculation. Now BA square, this is BA, this is BA. What is AB? AB is BA square. This is BA square, and this is B square, A cube. This is E. So this means that BA square is equal to E. This is equal to E. When BA square is equal to E, another thing is that, so you see, BA square is equal to E, BA square is equal to E. This means that BA is equal to BA inverse. This is A inverse, B inverse. This is A square, B. So BA is equal to A square B. Now BAB can be written as either you use this or you can use this. You are free to use. Now BA is A square B. This is BA is A square B and then B. So this is A square B square. This is A square. Right. So this one is A square. Now we will find this and this. Okay. You can play this game by using this information. Remember, A is equal to B square and B is equal to A square B. These are not the different elements. I mean, BA, we already have BA in S3 and also we already have BA square in S3. So these are not the new elements. So this element is AB inverse. You know, AB inverse. AB is an element of order 2. Order of AB square is equal to E. So AB is equal to AB inverse. Remember, this is AB. So this one is AB, right? So this is equal to AB, A square, B. And you know, BA square, we just have established that BA square is equal to AB. So this is equal to A, B. This is equal to A square, B square, and this is equal to A square. So this is also an element of A square. Similarly, we can find this, and you will see that this is also A square. Okay, so what are the two elements? So first conjugacy class was identity, and these are in fact the two elements. One is A and A square. So this is the conjugacy class CA. This is CE, this is CE, and this A and A square is in fact CA. Okay. Another thing you can notice that conjugacy class by CA and conjugacy class by A inverse both are same, because the inverse of A is A square. Of course, the CA must contain A. CA, because when A is actioning with adjunct element, EA inverse, so this must be A. So the conjugacy class CA always containing this element A. And of course its inverse as well. So this means that the conjugacy class by A and a conjugacy class by A inverse both are same. Okay. The third conjugacy class is, so we have seen that this is also equal to CA square, and then you see you have another conjugacy class CB. How you will find? This is E inverse, then A inverse, then A square inverse, then AB inverse, then A square B A square B inverse. So just like a game, you can play with this game by simplifying these elements as I have elaborated, because we have calculated some relations. What are those relations? I can write again. So S3 was A B A cube B square AB square is equal to E. And from here we have established A is equal to A inverse. From here we have established B is equal to B inverse. From here we have established AB is equal to B A square, and we also have established that A square B is equal to B A. So by using these conditions you can play with this. This is of course, this is B and A B A inverse. This is A B A inverse. This is A B. What is A inverse? This is A square. A square, and what is B A square? B A square is A B. So this is A B. This is A square B. So this one is A square B, of course. Then solve this. A square B A. This is A square B A square inverse. This is A square B A. And what is B A? B A is A square B. So this is A square into A square B. This is A4. This is AB. So AB. I think you can find the rest of the elements. They will repeat these three elements B, A square B and AB. You find, suppose this, what is this, what is this, what is this. You will get this, that this is the class B, AB, A square B. So this is the third class is B, AB, A square B, and this is generated by CB, also by CAB, also by CA square B. So these three elements B, AB and A square B are generating the same element, same class, right? See, we have three classes. One is CE, CA and CB. These are the three classes for S3, which are the conjugacy classes. And you see these are making a partition of S3, because if you take unit of these three classes, you are getting the entire S3, and none of these classes have any common intersection to each other. That's why we have the application of last theorem, that conjugacy classes always define the partition of a group G. Okay. Similarly, you can find, I am giving you assignment to solve the other part. You will see that D4, D4 is equal to AB, A4, B square, AB square is equal to E. And if you write in full, this is equal to E, A square, A cube, B, AB, A square, B, A cube, B. Then write its order structure. First at all, write its order structure. This is 1, 4, 2, 4, B is 2, this is 2, this is 2, this is 2. And from here, you can have that A4 is equal to E, mean that A cube is equal to A inverse. Okay. And from here, you will have B is equal to B inverse, the same condition. From here, you will have AB is equal to B inverse, A inverse, and here B inverse is B and A. This is AB is equal to B A cube. And similarly, the other conditions you can establish is that you can have BA scale. This is BA into BA. This is BA. What is this AB? This AB is BA cube. This is equal to BA cube A, and this is equal to B square A4 E. So BA square is equal to E. This implies BA is equal to BA inverse. This is A inverse, B inverse. This is A cube B. So BA is in fact A cube B. I have another condition. Now I need to know that what is BA square. I have established BA cube. I have established BA, but I need another quest of BA square. What is this? Now find BA square. So BA square is equal to BA into A. And what is BA? I understand BA is equal to A cube B. This is equal to A cube B A. Then again BA. This is BA is again A cube B. This is equal to A cube and A cube B. This is A6B. This is A square B. So you see, BA square is equal to A square B. Okay. Now using these conditions, you can play with D4 and you can find the conjugacy classes of D4. These are, in fact, I can write here the conjugacy classes of. So first we can summarize these things. D4, this is AB, A4, B square, AB square is equal to E. And here the conditions are A inverse is equal to A cube, B inverse is equal to B, A square B is equal to AB square, B square is equal to A square B. Okay, A square B is equal to B A square, and AB is equal to B A cube, and the last one is we have another condition is A cube B is equal to BA. You see, we have BA, BA square, BA cube. These were the three elements which were in our quest, that where are the BA, BA square and BA cube, and we found that these are the same elements, A cube B, A square B and B. Now using these conditions, you can play with D4 as well, and you can find the conjugacy classes. So these are the conjugacy classes of D4. You will see that this CE1, and then there must be CA square. This is A square, and then C. You say that CA. This is A cube. Then CB will be equal to AB A cube B, and then C. You have another class which is A B A square B. This is B. You see that this is B because this class must contain B A square B, and then C A B. This class is A B and A cube B. So these are the five classes. These are the five conjugacy classes for D4. Similarly, you can find conjugacy classes for Q8. And you know what is Q8? Q8 is equal to plus minus 1, plus minus j, plus minus k, plus minus I. So this is of course non-abelian group, and this group also has five conjugacy classes. One is 1, 1, second is minus 1, C minus 1, then Ci, of course this is equal to C minus 1, this is equal to C1, and then Ci, which is equal to plus minus I, this is also equal to C minus I, and then Cj, which is equal to plus minus j, this is also equal to C minus j, and then Ck, which is equal to plus minus k, which is also equal to C minus K. Okay, so another notable thing is that if G is abelian, then of course every element just contain one element. I'll tell you that the idea of self-conjugate element. So in next lecture, we will start right from here. What is a self-conjugate element? But remember that if G is abelian, then B is equal to G A G inverse. This can be commute, or this you can write G inverse A. Since G is abelian, so this is equal to E into A. This is equal to A. So this means that G inverse is equal to A. Okay, when G is abelian, then G inverse is equal to A. So corresponding to every element of A, CA contain just one element, which is A itself. So this can be written as formally let remark G be any abelian group then CA, in fact those be decided B is equal to G inverse, where G belong to G, and of course this can be written as B sided B is equal to G inverse A, since G is abelian, and this can be written as B is equal to A. Of course, for all G belong to G, so this is equal to A. So look at CA is equal to A. When G is abelian, then CA is equal to A. And remember that if B inverse is equal to A for all B belong to G, then we can call that A as the self-conjugate element. We will start next class right from here. What is the idea of a self-conjugate element? Okay, till that you try to understand the definition and few of the calculations that I have evaluated here, and I have elaborated an idea that how you can find the conjugacy classes of any group. You just write an element and write the definition, then vary all the elements instead of G, and then finalize which are the elements you can list in that set, and that set is in fact called the conjugacy class. And also we have seen that H3 has three conjugacy classes, D4 has 5 conjugacy classes, similarly Q8 has 5 conjugacy classes, and if G is abelian, then number of conjugacy classes is in fact the order of G. Okay, you try to revise these definitions. Inshallah, I'll start next lecture right from the definition of self-conjugate element. Till that, Allah Hafiz.